Canada, we just reported the fact that India has reopened issuing e-visas to Canadian nationals. How did that happen? Is there a thaw on the anvil?
Again, Canada, at least publicly, hasn't taken any steps against the Khalistanis.
Right.
But again, it seems that the US might have brokered some kind of a deal between India and Canada. The Five Eyes intelligence has been playing a predominant role ever since the Canadian Prime Minister accused India of killing Hardeep Singh Nijjar, the Khalistani terrorist. The relations have been sour. It's been more than 2 months now, and there have been threats continuously being issued by the Khalistani terror groups against India. So as of now, only today, the Indian government has decided that e-visas will be given to the Canadian nationals. So it seems that most of the visas have now been approved, and normalcy, at least in the diplomatic ties, is back to normal.
It's back to normal. And meanwhile, let's not forget Gurpatwant Singh Pannu, this one-man show, whom the NIA has booked as an individual terrorist. He's out with a new series of threats.
Yes, not surprising. Gurpatwant Singh Pannu, for years together, has been indulging in this kind of a rhetoric. He issues these videos that are more funny than threatening, and in fact, goes on to threaten not just the Indian government, the Indian people, but the Sikh community as well, saying that you cannot board the Air India or Air Canada that travels to New Delhi. In fact, only yesterday, Malak Singh, an accused who was in touch with Gurpatwant Singh Pannu and Sikhs for Justice, has been arrested by the Delhi Police Special Cell, and this person was actually involved in writing graffitis all across the national capital during the G20, threatening the Indian government, and he was in touch with Gurpatwant Singh Pannu, some person who was radicalized in back of beyond village in Punjab, not much links with terrorists or carrying any ammunition. But the more important development that has just come in, the NIA, as we speak, is raiding multiple locations in Punjab and Haryana over the attack on the Indian consulate in San Francisco, involving criminal trespass, vandalism, damage to public property, attempt to harm consulate officials, arson, and attempts to set the building on fire. Now, Sandeep, you would remember that earlier this year in UK as well, there was an attempt in which the NIA had registered a case. As luck would have it, the main person who actually removed the Indian flag actually died of cancer. He was a prominent Khalistani. But there was another arson attack apart from UK and Canada in San Francisco, where the Indian consulate is situated. The outer periphery of that area was burnt and gutted by the Khalistani terrorists, and now the NIA has registered a case, and there are raids underway in Haryana, Punjab and Delhi, where more people are likely to be arrested in this case.
Right. Is this the first time, Aditya, this kind of action is being undertaken by any government agency against overseas disgruntled elements? We've not seen this happening ever before.
I think this year, I wouldn't say today's raids are fresh, but I think this year, the kind of speed, alacrity that the NIA has really shown clearly signifies a paradigm shift in the national security policy of the Ministry of Home Affairs and the National Security Council, that clearly indicates that they are not going to look the other way. And I think the final nail in the coffin was the Indian flag that was forcibly removed from the Indian High Commission in London. And that's what led to a huge controversy in UK and in India. And there were demands by the people of India that there needs to be swift action. So there was pressure mounted on the agencies in UK, after which a lot of arrests happened. And the NIA also visited UK, spoke to the consulate officials. A lot of people were identified through the CCTV, and then those names have been put out in public, and those people are wanted now. And the same things are being repeated for Canada and US, where again Indian consulate and Indian missions have been attacked by the same Khalistani elements.
But is this having any kind of deterrent effect on these extremist elements who do these kind of things, with such impunity?
Firstly, these Khalistani elements, their aim is to obviously intimidate and threaten the Indian government, but more so, they want to germinate the seeds of Khalistan yet again in India, in the Indian Punjab. They haven't been successful with that. In Indian Punjab, there isn't any resonance of Khalistan. They cannot recruit many people. Of course, people are hurt by the Blue Star operation. People are very emotional about the killing of the Sikh community after the Indira Gandhi's killing in New Delhi and in northern India. Those are episodes that people will not forget.
Yes.
But ultimately, Khalistan isn't something that the Sikh community is demanding, and that's a setback for the Khalistanis. But having said that, of course, Khalistan, ideology is alive in Canada, US, UK, and Australia. Beyond that, I don't see any Khalistan. And yes, these actions of the NIA, of the Indian government, are a huge deterrent if pressure is mounted on these countries to act. But often we have seen, for instance, US and Canada use such tactics to further their foreign policy with India.
Well, clearly, and the way Gurpatwant Singh Pannu has been given shelter in the United States and free to travel and preach the kind of hatred, that just tells you how he seems to be in the pay of some foreign agencies.
And
Aditya.
Pannu is both an American and a Canadian citizen.
Yes.
We keep on harping on Canada, but if US had the intention and the intent, then certainly Pannu would have been arrested, because most of the times he's based in New York.
Right.
He calls himself Legal Council of Sikhs for Justice, a body that has been banned under the UAPA in India. It's a terror organization, and India and US have strategic ties, both in intelligence and several of the agencies, including the NIA.
Which bears the question, where have we asked for his extradition yet? Given the fact that the NIA has now declared him a terrorist, say like any of the LET terrorists or David Headley, for instance, is there a possibility he could be extradited?
I think his details have been shared with Canada. I'm not sure about the United States, but his details has been shared with Canada. But Canada, yet again, for the last more than a decade, has not responded to any of the extradition requests. There are at least 26 extradition requests with Canada that are pending, and there's been no action whatsoever. Either being handed over, forget handing over to India. They haven't taken action against them in Canada itself. That begs the question that why aren't they acting against snakes in their backyard? They're asking them to, be groomed, further their interests continuously, and perhaps these snakes will bite them one day.
That's increasingly the point that we've been raising on this show time and again, Aditya, the snakes in their backyard, and the fact that Canada has featured a Waffen-SS soldier in Canada's parliament. That just tells you the kind of ignorance that seems to exist in
And what has also happened, Sandeep, is that instead of Khalistan becoming a huge topic in India or Khalistan finding resonance in Punjab, organized crime in Canada has increased multifold ever since Canadian Prime Minister has looked the other way and let Khalistanis...
There are gang wars of the kind we don't see in India anymore.
Absolutely. So it will be trouble for Canadian citizens, and that's already visible. The killings have begun, contract killings are continuing, threats, intimidation are continuing, and RCMP hasn't been able to do much to tackle that.
News9 Plus. Download now.